Let me plug in the microphone. So, can you...
Hello, everybody. Bill Batson here from Batson Enterprises. Can you hear me? We're trying something different today. We're going on YouTube Live instead of Facebook Live because the switch over to get it to YouTube is difficult for our staff. And it takes a while. So we're going to go straight to YouTube Live. So can you hear me? Anybody out there want to answer? If they can hear me, make sure we have no other technical difficulties at this point in time.
There's a little bit of lag. Okay. Coming in good from Fat Boy Angler.
Oh, excellent. All right. So let's get this thing going.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. All right. Like I said, we're trying something different today. We went straight to a YouTube Live station instead of a Facebook Live because of crossover. Hopefully everybody is coming on that used to watch us on Facebook. Is coming now to our YouTube station. It's going to make it a lot easier. I don't know how many people we have watching.
We have 15.
Okay, well at least 15 of them figured it out. You know? So we have a cool show today. Anyways, let's start over. I'm Bill Batson, Batson Enterprises. You're on Blank Talk Live. I'm here today with Mike Thorson.
Howdy.
The one and only Mike Thorson. Has been with our family now for 19 years.
19 years. Yep.
19 years. He came from another well-known company within the industry, and he is our lead designer, VP of engineering, and one of the reasons why Batson Enterprises is so successful within this industry. So today we're going to talk about RX. What does RX stand for? RX4, RX6, RX7, RX8, RX9, and RX10. Where do they come from? What do they mean? Why do we give them those nomenclatures or whatever, however you want to say it? And we're going to go through the series. I am going to talk about where they're at, and Mike's going to tell you why they're there. Mike is, like I said, our lead designer. He's designed over 1,200 different blanks for the Batson family over the years, and we're going to go from there. So let's start where the nomenclature start from.
Okay, so Scott liked and shared.
Excellent. Thank you for liking and sharing. We're going to give away one each of every series. So there's 6 different series. We're going to give a blank away for every series. We want you to ask questions. We want you to understand what RX stands for and why it's there. So when we started this company over 20 years ago, my dad was good friends with Gary Loomis at the time. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the Loomis company always had that GL2, GL3, GL4, GLX, yep. Right? St. Croix had the
SC2, SC3, SC4, SC5.
Right. And what it does is they're just separating different materials.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Exactly. The nomenclature was designed because really giving you the name of an individual graphite fiber would get pretty confusing. So most companies establish their own nomenclature, and that's essentially what we did as well.
Correct.
So RX4, which is I think one Bill's going to talk about first, is really a unique material. It's a hybrid material where it's e-glass and graphite woven into a matrix that you make blanks out of. As far as a material, the positives, very, very durable and strong, very applicable to blanks where you're looking for that as one of the main design characteristics. So we use it. Bill will go outline the series, but It's unique in that it's a hybrid. I don't know of a lot of other people that are using that type of a setup.
I think we have the technical difficulties. Is Mike too loud?
Yeah, he's too loud.
Okay.
Is Mike too loud? It's weird having someone be too loud that isn't you.
Yeah, but I think my mic was a little. Depends on how big that blue line on your.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, go back to what you're talking. RX4.
RX4. So woven hybrid of standard graphite and e-glass makes up a matrix. It's a little thicker ply thickness than standard graphite. Really works well when you're trying to make a really durable blank, and Bill can outline the series where we do utilize that material.
Perfect. Yep. So the RX4, we call it like our bulletproof series, right?
Yep.
We put it in our salmon steelhead. We have it in the salmon steelhead and multi-purpose blanks, like the BP series.
Yep.
When we first designed that series, it was the billy proof.
Yep.
Right? Because I'm out there and I'm pulling on these rods, and it's part of our research and development.
Right.
That we called it the bulletproof series. You
Yep.
know, it started as billy proof, but that was, so we decided to go with the bulletproof series. We also have, then the RX4 is our SWS series.
Yep.
Which is a durable saltwater blank.
Right. Multi-purpose. Yep.
What it does is, because of the graphite, it keeps that weight down. So we're not using e-glass.
Right.
And we are within the matrix,
Right.
but it's not a solid e-glass. So what we're doing is you're getting stiffness, Mike,
Yep.
and you're getting durability.
Right. This material has a slightly higher resin content than, say, standard graphite. That also adds to the durability as well. So it's a great material for certain applications, without question.
Yep. So, like I said, we're going to start with the RX4, which we just explained, RX4, and the next one is the RX6.
Yep.
In the RX6, we have like 15 different series in the RX6. I mean, that's your durable, powerful,
Right.
saltwater. We got it all the way down to a smaller trout and bass stuff, but
Right.
tell us about the RX6.
RX6 is basically a standard graphite or standard modulus fiber. The one we use is a relatively new fiber from Toray. I'm not going to disclose the actual fibers, but it has a little bit higher strain than some of the standard graphites of years gone by. We've evolved over the time. As better fibers become available, we do go ahead and use them. One important thing that I want to discuss at the get-go here
Yes.
is that fiber type and modulus doesn't ensure a great blank. You certainly have to have good materials when you start, but probably just as important or more important is how good is the inherent design, and then are the manufacturing processes real solid at the factory where the blanks are being made. I always tell a story when people ask. Years ago, there was a major tire company, Firestone actually, that had a tire that was used commonly on SUVs. When the tire was used down south where the temperatures rose, the sidewall would fail, and it actually cost Firestone their brand. Well, they researched and went back and looked, and there was nothing wrong with the inherent design or the rubber or anything like that. They had one factory where they had a faulty manufacturing process. And that illustrates, it's a perfect way to illustrate how critical manufacturing is. It isn't just saying that I've got XYZ fiber and that's better than QYZ fiber.
Right.
It's not that simple. Marketing departments and individuals out there in the marketplace tend to want to find that silver bullet that say, well, 10's better than 9. In some ways that may be true, but it's a lot more difficult and it's a lot more complicated than that. In a lot of cases, it's just a numbers game that you see from marketing departments, and that's really not what it's all about. So keep that in mind when you're trying to compare. And rest assured, every material in every factory that we work with has been carefully vetted by myself and our other engineers. We go over and actually visit them. We look at their manufacturing processes, how they store materials, what materials they're working with, and what we specify to make sure everything is just right. So
Yeah.
I want you guys to know that's a huge part of this process.
Right.
And again, it isn't as simple as just saying, well, 7 is better than 6. It's not quite like that.
Yeah.
RX6, again, it's a standard modulus fiber. The one we utilize from Toray is very high strain, so it's got good longevity. It doesn't have, its shear strength is quite good. Very popular. So we use it in a lot of different series. You can build a really fine blank. One other thing that is really common is blank lightness and stiffness, and keep this in mind, the basic engineering principles. You can change how stiffness by diameter, wall thickness, and material type. That's it. There's no other magic involved. So
Yep.
as you think about going forward, just keep those design principles in mind. So
I'd like to point out something Mike was saying. It's about, a lot of people have great designs, and a lot of our designs have been around forever, but it's about the process, right? I mean, if you have a factory that doesn't have the process down, it doesn't matter what kind of materials they're using.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how good their engineers are. If
Right.
you don't have the process down, and making a blank is a process. If you've never seen a blank made, go on the internet and look on blank making, and then it'll show you all the different steps, because it's not done by a machine. These are done by, a lot of it's done by hand. You know, putting it on the mandrel and the tension and all. There's a lot of steps. So if you miss one of those steps in manufacturing, or if your mandrel's bent, that's why you get, one of the reasons you get bent blanks is when your mandrels aren't straightened. Make sure you got a mandrel straightener. There's a lot of things in process. So our main thing is the process, right? Yes, we have great blanks. Yes, we're the #1 blank supplier in the nation. But reason why is because of our process.
Yeah, the devil's in the details is what I always say. And really where those details come from is having the experience and been in the industry for long periods of time and been in a lot of factories. And there's no book on how to design a rod blank. It isn't available. And it's just learning things over time and testing things, and then working closely with good engineers and making sure that their process is real solid and sound from start to finish. There's a lot of places where mistakes can be made, and we're real cognizant of what those are, and we make sure that it's done correctly. So
we've been in a few factories, Mike.
Yes, we have. Probably every one in the U.S. to speak of, and then many abroad.
Many abroad. And that's where we get picky. Because when we walk into a factory, I don't want to see patterns laying out or being cut and then sitting out for 2 or 3 days at a time and drying out, and you try to wrap that around a mandrel, and that's when you see failures. So,
or dirty areas and all the different things that can come into play. I mean, there's a ton. We could spend hours just talking about that, but what we want you to know is that everything is carefully vetted, and we simply don't work with anybody that doesn't do it right. It will never happen. That's one of my main jobs, and we make sure that it's always done correctly. So
we've worked with a lot of different factories over the years.
Yes, we have.
Some of them do a good job, and some of them we just don't work with anymore.
That's right.
So it is what it is, right?
That's correct.
And it's usually because of process. It's not because of the bad design or materials or anything. It's because of process.
One other quick thing, and I'll let Bill move forward. When people always ask about modulus a lot, and modulus is the stiffness of a given fiber. Understand this, that the modulus that's quoted on a given fiber really has very little meaning compared to when you make this into a rod blank. There's a fiber modulus and that we call laminate modulus, where you're taking a fiber, a scrim, and a resin system and laminating it into a tubular blank. They talk about the fiber modulus because that's the highest one. Once you laminate it, and with the scrim and everything, you're looking at a figure that's probably 30 to 40% less than that quoted modulus of that fiber. Not a lot of people know that. Marketing departments shy away from that because it's not impressive. But that's something to keep in mind as well. So,
and the resin systems are huge. Right? So we have obviously proprietary resin systems that we use.
The ones we specify, and there's some that we have a nano-based resin in our Rx9 that we use. So
so a lot of that's important.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So Rx6, 15 different series in that. And also, when we say Rx6, there's also some Rx6 with e-glass. So why are we doing that, Mike? Why do we take an Rx6 material and then add some e-glass to it?
Okay, in a lot of saltwater blanks, where they're designed to be fished under real heavy load, large fish, the main pattern of the blank may be e-glass. E-glass is lower modulus, it bends easier, very, very durable. The problem with it is it's heavy, and nobody likes to fish with a rod that's super heavy. So what we may do on a given design is we have a main pattern of e-glass, and then in the bottom 2/3 or bottom half of the blank, we may add a considerable amount of Rx6 or standard graphite to help stiffen that blank. And we make it stiffer without just increasing the wall like you would with e-glass, which adds a lot of weight. So it allows us to stiffen a blank without adding the weight that you would if you just made the wall thicker with your basic material, which might be e-glass. It's real common on a lot of saltwater rods, and really on a lot of rods in general. What we specify is the highest modulus fiber we use in a given design, but there could be other materials in there depending on what we're asking the blank to do. So most of them are blends, to be quite honest with you, where you're using 2, 3, 4 types of materials even in a given blank design. So,
we definitely do that. We're not going to give away those secrets, but it is a big part of what our designs are.
That's right.
Right? I mean,
Yep.
that's where you get your actions and make sure you're not tip heavy. Or,
Yep.
There's a lot of different reasons why
Yep.
we do those. So,
Yep.
RX6. Well, let's go back. James, give me a winner for a BP 1025. I want to give something away. So we're going to give away, this is our RX4. And this is in a matte clear. This is a Rain Shadow BP 1025. 15 to 25, 8.5 foot, 1 to 3 ounce, 2-piece rod. I use this rod for a lot of different things. It can be used from sturgeon to salmon to rockfish to lingcod. And this is a 2-piece, 8.5 foot rod. And I want to give one away, James. Who do we got?
Louis Yang.
Louis Yang. What do you got, Eden? What do you want?
Send an email to Batson
there you
at
go.
Batson Enterprises to claim your prize. Just let us know who you are. Send an email, give us your address, and we will ship you the BP
1025.
1025.
Yep, excellent. Thank you, Eden. The BP 1025 is a great all-purpose 2-piece rod. Yeah, it's a downrigger rod. It's
Yep.
in the Bulletproof series. BP, Billy Proof, old school. People know it as a Billy Proof rod. I fish these. I've had these in my arsenal for many years. I love this rod. I spiral wrap it. I put a trigger reel seat on it. Like I said, I catch everything from kings, and if I hook a halibut, I've seen guys catch halibut on these rods. Obviously, you're not high sticking this rod, but BP 1025 RX4. So, like I said, we're going to give away one each of each one of these RXs today. So that's the first one we're going to give away. So stay tuned. Maybe tell some people to jump on if they want to know about this. In the Rx6 series, there's 15 different series, blank series, from the RCTB, RCLB, RCJB, RCKJB. I mean, there's, like I said, there's 15 different ones. The SWT, the Rain Shadow tuna popping rods, durable salmon steelhead, all of our spin bass, our popping rods, our SP842s, SP843s, that's RX6 graphite. Some of the most popular blanks we sell for trout, flounder, redfish. I mean, so many
Unity
things.
fly as well.
Yeah, and the Unity fly. I keep forgetting about fly. It's in the back of our catalog. Hey, I just don't go to fly very often. But yeah, our Unity fly, it's in our school programs and things like that. So that is our RX6.
Yep.
Let's give one away. How about an RCKJB 700-250? One of my favorite all-purpose blanks. We're going to give away an RCKJB 700-250. This is an awesome blank.
Yep.
I mean, small diameters, thick walls. I mean, this is in the RX6, right? And it has the E-glass in it. You've seen me catch giant alligator gar with this rod. I've seen people catch sharks. I mean, there's so many different things you can do with the RCKJB 700-250. It's rated 30-50, 6 to 10 ounces. James, give me a winner.
Let's see. Sure. Stinking Wally.
Stinking Wally.
Deal with using
Nice
that.
handle, Wally. That a boy.
Stinking Wally. You are a winner. And Eden, you want to come up here and tell them what to do? We're going to have Eden come up here. She doesn't have a mic today, but she can do my mic.
Back again. I put it in the comments. Make sure you send an email to batson@batsonenterprises.com. Let us know where to ship your rod to, and we will get that to you.
Nice job.
Congratulations, Stinking Wally.
Stinking Wally.
He says, hooray!
Nice. All right. Moving on.
Moving on.
All right, let's move on to the RX7 series.
RX7.
Yes.
This fiber falls in what we call intermediate modulus range. Really a workhorse for us in a lot of different series. It's probably 20% stiffer than standard graphite. The fiber that we utilize actually has strain that's very, very close, so it remains very durable. Great all-around workhorse. It has about 1% or less resin in it than the RX6, which helps reduce the weight a little bit as well. It's inherently just a little bit higher modulus, so it enhances the sensitivity. If you took two rods and built the same exact rod out of 6 and 7, the 7 is going to be just slightly more sensitive because
Would it be stiffer?
Slightly.
Slightly
Slight-
stiffer.
Yep, slightly stiffer
So when
as
you
well.
talk about this, Mike, I mean, we can go back to that modulus conversation, right?
Right.
So old school was, standard was 33 million modulus.
Right,
Rx7 was like a 43 million modulus.
Yep.
And then when you get in anything over Rx7, like an 8 or a 9 or a 10, they say
Right.
51 million modulus,
yeah,
right?
it's usually blends when you,
Yeah.
what we're talking about,
Right.
and certain matrices that we use,
Sure.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is probably used, if we were to pick one fiber that's used, this has got to be it. Really, really a lot in a lot of our designs. It's been a very stable fiber design from Toray for many, many years. Honestly, guys, other than just recently, there's been some subtle changes in resin systems and stuff. There hasn't been a ton of brand new fibers to use that are applicable to sporting goods. There's been a number of them that have been out there that are very well done. But what has improved is some of the resins that are out there today.
Yep.
And then we evolve as far as some of our tricks, as far as how we manufacture and tweaking our designs for slightly less weight. We can adjust resin contents a little bit. But that Rx7, man, I use a lot of blanks myself in our Revelations for bass fishing. Love it. Very durable, very sensitive. Great, great, great all-around fiber.
Yep.
It's used in our RX or Revelation fly as well, and it works quite well. I'll let Bill elaborate,
Yeah.
but it's a real workhorse for us.
It is. It's been a very good series for us. The Rx7. We just kind of changed the name a couple years ago to the Revelation.
Yep.
A lot of things are under the Revelation. I think there's 10 different series, whether it be our fly, our crankbait, our bass casting, a lot of different things under the Revelation name. So a lot of people will recognize the Revelation, you know, but they'll also recognize the old part numbers like the IPs and the ISBs and,
Yep.
and things like that in that Rx7 material, right? So can't go wrong. We even use Rx7 in some of our other Made in USA stuff.
Yep.
Basic, like you said, it was that good Toray material that we use a lot, and we'll use it in.
Lots of different things.
Right.
That's a great point he brought up. There were some older designs and newer designs
Yeah.
where we use essentially the same fiber, but what I did is I went back and I said, all right, how do I want to change this series? What am I looking for? Does it need to be more durable?
Yep.
Do we need to have a lighter? What is it? So it's a lot of it. Again, that shows you that it isn't just the fiber, it's what we choose to do with that as well. And you know what our design goals are for a particular series or part or whatever. So
Yeah, because we're a huge company, but we're small enough where we can make changes.
Yep.
If we see something that needs to be changed, I mean, we'll notice pretty
yep.
quick, right? So
Yep.
we'll get more people saying, hey, but what about this? What about that? What about this? And we can make changes pretty quick.
Yes, we can.
I mean, not as quick as we used to because of all the stuff going on in the world right now, but
Yep.
yeah. So Rx7, let's give something away. Let's give away, what do you think, Mike? What do you want to do?
How about a Rev Casting Rod?
A Revelation Casting.
72M.
72M, Mike called it. REVC72M.
Great all-around bass rod. For if you set it up as a casting rod, 1/4 to 3/4, 10 to 17 pound test line.
Right.
A real workhorse. If you had to pick one casting rod to do
This is it?
75% of the bass presentations, this is it. So-
Remember, it used to be the old IMB 843, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the more modern version
This
of
is
it.
the more
Yep.
modern version. So,
Yep.
let me have a winner. Eden?
Brett Courtney.
Brett Courtney?
Yep.
All right, Brett Courtney, you actually won yourself a nice 7.2 Revelation casting blank. Get Eden that information, and we'll get it sent out to you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I like giving stuff away.
I think people like getting it too.
People love it, right? All right, so RX7, it's a huge series for us.
Yes, it is.
It's a huge series. Like a lot of them, even our OEMs buy the private label, right? So we'll sell a lot of them under a private label to a lot of the smaller OEMs out there that don't have blank factories.
Right.
Question?
Yes, we did. And
Somebody have a question?
Lewis Yang was asking if you could talk about the Judge series later in the video.
Sure, we'll talk about Judge Series right now because the Judge Series actually falls into that RX7.
RX7, yep.
Right? Go ahead, share a little bit of that Judge
The
Series.
Judge is, it's actually, has 3 materials in it. It's got RX7, it's got a special S-class composition, and then it has a special woven 12K that we turn at a different angle for the bottom 30 inches of the blank. Real interesting design. For a glass style blank was what we were trying to achieve. It's lighter in weight than our typical Rx6 and E-glass blends. Very durable. The woven pattern that we put in the butt helps reduce on how much that blank twists under heavy load. Adds a lot of lifting power without adding a lot of weight as well. So that's actually a blank that uses 3 different materials. Again, we don't tell people this all the time, but it is a really, really nice matrix and works incredibly well.
Yep.
Great product.
Made in the United States.
Made in the USA as well, you bet.
Yep. We called it the Judge because we can judge it against anything else out there in that
For
series.
the styles of
in the
blanks, the
United
crankbait and live bait blanks, I don't think there's a better one available, period.
Oh, I've heard so much about those crankbait blanks.
Yep.
The REV crankbait blanks
Yep.
are amazing. It's not just for crankbaits either, right?
Right.
And people are using them for a lot of different things. I know guys are using them for twitching rods. I mean, there's a lot of different applications.
Good reaction bait rod. Yep.
It is a good
You
reaction
bet.
bait
Spinner
rod.
baits, chatter baits, all that kind of stuff, you bet.
So hopefully that answered his Judge question. Any other questions out there before we move on? I like this series because you can always go back to it, and people ask about the RX. Hey, we did a whole show on RX, what it stands for and what it is, right?
Right.
All right, so we gave away a Revelation. We've given away a 6, a 4, and 7. Let's move to the 8s. RX8, Mike.
The RX8 it's a slightly different fiber from Terray, just slightly higher on modulus than the Rx7. A little bit different resin system as well. In the blanks in general, what we tried to do is push the envelope a little bit more by adjusting the diameter and wall thickness to get a blank that's a little bit lighter than what you get with an Rx6. We still maintain probably 80–85% of the strength of an Rx7, but you get a lighter blank with a higher modulus fiber, which is going to add to the sensitivity. You know, anytime you can take weight out of a rod when you're fishing it all day, that's an advantageous thing to do.
Yep.
You know, it's common in some higher performance series that we offer. Also working on another series that I'm not going to disclose yet that's going to be utilizing that as well.
Yep.
That'll be in the fly market, but it's a great fiber. Again, in most of these, there is RX8, but there might be a blend of RX7 and 8 to get a specific action that you're looking for or whatever. But again, we always publicize the highest modulus fiber used in a given design. Understand this, when you get into higher modulus fibers, in general, you don't always run them the full length of the rod. Right. The higher the modulus, the strain always goes down. There is a common thing that you read is high modulus, high strain, and that's almost an oxymoron, because it isn't true. It's a marketing department trying to make it sound better than it really is. But
we wouldn't do that.
No, as you go up, you know, you lose a little bit of strain, but if you use it properly and position it, you know, we call it modulus positioning on the blank correctly, you can take a lot of weight out, add a lot of sensitivity, so on and so forth. So
yes, and the RX8, there's a bunch of it. The XST, the Immortal series people hear about the Immortal series. Immortal is just a name for our RX8, and it all comes in that titanium chrome. It's been a very popular color. People love that color. I like it. We developed that color off of an old Chronarch reel. Remember that? It was a long time ago. Shimano had the old Chronarch reels. They had that nice titanium chrome color, and we said that's the color we want for blanks. So we do it in the XST, like all the Immortals. We do it in walleye, popping, bass, casting. We have it in fly. We have it all over the place. The RX8 material is amazing material. So we're going to give away one of those. Thank you, Mike. I like the RX8s.
Okay. Because
of the durability. They still got good durability because of the design and the process, right? Right. They might not be as light as the RX10s, but they have a place, right? So we're going to give one away. What do you want to give away, James?
The 610 MXF.
Oh yeah, the 610 MXF.
Drop shot rod.
Yeah, this is the ultimate drop shot rod. This is an IMMS 610 MXF. Extra fast, 6 to 14, 3/16 to 1/2. Mike, what would you fish with this?
Oh yeah, that'd be. I mean, if
You're a best guy.
Yep, drop shot fishing with
Yeah.
anywhere from super weight to up to a ½ ounce, depending on how deep you're fishing. The beauty of this particular blank design, when I drop shot fish, what I'm looking at is how far that tip of the rod is moving. You know, you drop the weight and the blank comes up and you can see the tip moving. Often what happens is you pick it up and the tip doesn't move back up, so you know a fish has sucked that little bait in and you set the hook. You really don't, sometimes you don't feel a whole lot, but you notice, and so it's tricky to design a tip that fast with Rx8, but we were able to do it by manipulating the wall thickness and everything.
Yep. And
That's a
Modulus
great
positioning,
blank.
I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
I
some
use that. I
Modulus
actually fish
positioning
with
in
that
there.
blank, you know, late summer when the fish tend to move offshore a little bit more, and you're doing drop shot presentations on some of the lakes in central and eastern Washington. That's my blank of choice.
Nice. All right, we're going to go ahead and give it away. Give me a name, Eden, sir.
You.
Jeff Yu, you're now the proud owner of a new IMF 610 MXF. Go ahead and give us an email with your address and we'll get that off to you. Perfect. Well, moving on.
Right.
I almost forgot about this one.
Yes, you did.
Man, you know, the boss almost forgets about Rx9.
Yeah.
Rx9, we have it in one series. Mike, tell us about it.
It's a material that we utilize in our high-end Eternity fly rod, a cobalt blue color. What primarily is different about this material and fiber, it still falls in that mid to upper range as far as modulus, but we are utilizing a little bit different resin system. It's a carbon nanotube based resin system, and that's a mouthful right there. Essentially, when you think nano, think small. And so what would that mean to the layman? All right, if I took 3 jars and set them in front of you, and I had white sand, and I had jelly beans, and I had golf balls. Okay, they're all round particles. The distance between those particles as you go to the smaller one is what you're getting when you go to a nano-style resin. And what it ultimately does is it bonds omnidirectionally just slightly better than the other resin systems that are out there. It's a very subtle difference, and it's a very expensive resin, so we don't use it a ton. And it only works with certain fibers. It's not one you can use unilaterally, so, but it does have a place in this style of rod. The Rx9s actually utilize 3 materials. So depending on the section of the blank, there's a 4-piece blank. It might be a blend of 6 and 7 in the tip, and then 7 and 8, and then 9 the rest of the way. It just depends on the given model what exactly we're doing. But the 9 does have that unique resin system. It's the only one that we still maintain that. So great rod though, really, really nice high-end performing fly rod blanks.
And that's what we call our shotgun fast rods. That's our saltwater series.
Yeah, it's fast, but it still has good feel.
Right.
I'm kind of picky
You're
about
more
fly
for
rods.
feel than you are.
Yeah,
Right.
I like to be able to feel.
Not everybody can cast like you, though,
Well,
Mike.
I know, but you got to. I like to have the end user be able to feel the line throughout the cast. Some of the really fast rods out there today, you got to get a lot of line in the air. We call that aerializing a lot of line before you can feel it on your back cast. With the Rx9 or Eternity, that's not the case. It's a really great blank.
Nice. Excellent.
I'd give away an 8-weight or whatever he pulled.
What do you got?
It's an 8.
Oh, a good all-around 8-weight. Can't
Yep.
go wrong with the 8-weight. This is a 9-foot 4-piece
Yep.
8-weight fly blank. Beautiful cobalt blue. I like this color. Some
Yep.
people say it's a bit much. You know, I had a guy contact me earlier today. Says, "Can I sand it down and take the paint off?" I mean, if you really know what you're doing, you can, but I wouldn't suggest it. But this beautiful cobalt blue blank. Let's find a winner. Eden, Sarah, you want to give me a winner? We're going to find a winner. They're going to find me a winner. There's got to be a winner out there. All right.
Trina Engel.
Trina Engel.
Trina Engel, you are now the proud owner of a 9-foot 8-weight Rx9. Beautiful fly blank. My guess is going to probably retail about $250.
Right.
Yep, nice blank. Beautiful blank.
What we might do too for all you, when we send the blank, we'll probably enclose our build sheet on how we suggest each one of those to be built up. It's a good starting point for you. You can certainly do it different if you choose, but it shows you the correct guide spacing and how we would tend to build it ourselves. So you'll get that when you get the blank.
Yeah, good idea, Mike. We have people all the time. I mean, all of our, I'm going to say 60% of the new customers we've picked up in the last 12 months say that one of the reasons why they want to buy from us is because we have all those build prints.
Yep.
I mean, they'll go, you guys are making this job easier for us, you know?
Well, that's the idea.
I know. I want you to buy it. You want to buy a build print? You can go right ahead.
Yep.
Okay? So that's RX9. Now we're getting down to the RX10. We've done a whole show on this before, Mike.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, the RX10 is an amazing blank.
Yes, it is.
I mean, Sean O'Connor was using it.
Yep.
He just got the 3-peat on the World Redfish Championship. World Series Redfish Champion was using the new RX10. We have people using it all over the country. It's a great blank. I'm working a deal right now on an OEM that wants to use it and put his name on it. You know, that's one of the highest compliments we get is, you know, yeah, we'll sell 100,000 blanks, but maybe only 20,000 of them are under the Rain Shadow label. All the rest are sold under other people's names.
Yep.
That's a heck of a compliment. Somebody's going to take your product and put their name on it.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the 10 is unique in that, whew, boy,
Yeah.
I don't want to disclose too
Don't give
much.
too much away.
But you can do things with how you lay patterns up.
Yep.
And you can do things with resin content and wall thickness. And then there are this fiber still falls in that upper middle class as far as Modulus, but it's a relatively new one that's only been out for about 18 to 24 months. It's for a higher Modulus fiber. It has the highest strain that I have ever seen. You combine that with how we're doing the patterns, and then I'm not going to tell you the other materials we put in here, but in the bottom half of some of these, there's some really high Modulus material that the strain is poor on, but when you use slivers of it in the bottom half of a blank, you can add a lot of stiffness without adding a lot of weight. It's a great way. It also enhances the sensitivity because you have a stiffer fibers around the hand area where you're holding that blank when you're actually fishing it.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of time manipulating the wall thickness, the blank diameter, the pattern layups. And guys, I'm talking sometimes if I change how the patterns are laid up, it may only make a 1 pound a difference in breakage, but we did everything possible on these to make these as, you know, the best that we're capable of at this point in time. And they're really, really nice blanks. I've been doing this 40 years, and I don't know that I've ever done anything better than these.
Yeah.
These are top shelf.
That's saying a lot.
Yep, and there's some unique ways we're laying some of the patterns up to add stiffness without adding weight. Again, it's a very cool product.
Yeah,
works quite well.
It's done really well for us, the new RX10s. You know,
Yep.
it has that sanded swirl finish, the SS finish,
Yep.
so there's no extra paint, no extra anything on top of it.
Yep.
Like I said,
You'll see more things to come as time goes on.
Yeah.
There'll be more and more products that we'll do with this where we're pushing the envelope, but this is a place where we started. Yeah. So if we could do it, we did do it here.
Yeah.
That's what we did. And it took a year and a half to get it to where we wanted it, I think. But I can tell you that during the testing phase, with multiple fishermen catching a lot of different species of fish and large fish, we didn't have a single failure that I'm aware of.
A lot of those guys are professional fishermen.
Right, but still, they're stressing them.
Oh, yeah.
They're not babying these, and we didn't want them to.
No, we don't.
And then I was out using them as well, and James, our other engineer, and lots of people testing these blanks, and they got put through the ringer, so to speak, and they really came out with flying colors. So ultimate, and again, stay tuned because you're going to see more and more with this type of stuff in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike is always working on something. We keep Mike busy, that's for sure.
Yes, you do.
We keep Mike busy. So that is our explanation of RXs, right? RX4, RX6, RX7, RX8, RX9, RX10.
You going to give a 10 away?
I'm going to give a 10 away.
All right.
Which one should I give away, Mikey? What's your favorite?
Oh, boy, I would say, I use the ETES 72M a lot.
Okay.
It's built as a spinning rod. Guys that fish with me say I do the spinning version, even the ETES. Next row down. I do a lot of finesse fishing with lighter line. You know, prior to living here, I lived in northern Wisconsin and fished Canada, Wisconsin, and Minnesota a lot where clear water is predominant, and you learn to use lighter line and smaller baits to catch, you know, bass under pressured situations. And I love fishing that way. I grew up in Iowa fishing state lakes that were pressured a lot, and you could go down the bank right behind somebody that was doing a traditional reaction bait like a spinner bait or a jig or whatever, and you could pick fish off using a tube or a Ned rig or whatever.
Right.
But this blank, great for throwing. Smaller crankbaits like number 5 and 7 shad wraps works well. Ned baits with 8 to 3/16 ounce heads. Tubes, which I love to fish. Great all-around rod for that.
Yep. I know some guys are taking these spinning models and making casting models.
They
out
are,
of them,
yep, they do.
You know, so it doesn't, just because it says it's a spinning model, just because it says it's a bass blank, doesn't mean you can't go catch trout with it, or
Right.
you know, a redfish or whatever, smaller species, schnooks, all those types of things. So we're going to give away one of these things. These are amazing. Probably the best seller we've had all year. The RX10s, not in a higher Modulus rod, obviously. So, James, you want to give me a winner?
Jake Sela.
Jake Sela, congratulations. We're going to go ahead and send you the new Eternity 7.2 M, the sanded swirl. Beautiful blank. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. So, perfect. I mean,
That's it. Huh?
That's a good one.
That's a wrap.
That would be a wrap.
Any
Thank you for coming on, Mike. Thank you very much for
You're welcome.
your technical support. I know I pay you for a reason.
Yes, you do.
You didn't want to come on in here?
I'll come on in
All
here.
right. I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, batson@batsonenterprises.com.
Yep.
Great blank talk.
Great blank talk. Make
All
sure
right.
you guys subscribe. You're on our YouTube right now. It means a lot to us if you just hit that little subscribe button. We'll probably be doing some more YouTube lives in the future. Let us know that you like it. The more subscribes, the more comments, the more likes we get, the more we know
Yes.
that we can do this more often.
Sure.
Yeah. Feel free to ask any questions. Anyways, thank you very much. Aloha and fish on.
Fish on.
Thanks, Mikey.
Yep.